This will be a recording of your first lab, Lab 1, where you will install Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise, and you will also install the Standard Edition on a separate machine. I ask that the students give some sort of a naming convention so that I will know it's your machine when I see your screenshots. I have 8 gigs of RAM on this computer, so I'm going to bump up the RAM a bit. When I say 8 gigs, I mean on my host. If you don't have a lot of RAM on your host, you cannot dedicate as much to a virtual machine. You can dedicate up to 1/2 of your host RAM to whatever combination of virtual machines you'll be running. So if you have a 4 gig of RAM set up on your host computer, then you could assign 1 gig of RAM to each machine, each virtual machine that you're creating. Very important to keep the location. I'd see that my default is on C. I want to be able to take this with me wherever I go, so I am going to put it on my external drive. I'm going to change the size of my virtual hard drive to 100 gigs because I'm using dynamic. And I'm going to go ahead, well actually I'm going to change the name of this so that I'll know which is which. I'm going to call this the Enterprise. And then I'm going to create another for my standard. I'm assigning 1 gig of RAM to this machine. We're not going to be doing as much with it, but I can always change this at any time. Again, I'm going to check the storage location. Again, the default is C, so I'm going to change it here. I'll bump this size up as well. Like I said, since it's dynamically allocated, it's not really going to use 100 gigs. So now I have my 2 machines built, but we're going to install the operating system as well for your first lab. So I'll probably only install one at a time because I don't want to tax my host. It's now asking me for where is my installation file. That's going to be your ISO file. If you don't have your ISO file, you can get that from Miss Hunt in the Learning Lab. She has 2 of my external drives, and you can just copy the files from her. She's on the North Campus in the Learning Lab. Her name is Miss Hunt. You can also download the files from the DreamSpark site if you don't happen to have the ISO. I'm thinking you were in NOS 110, so you probably do have the ISO. I'm not going to keep this recording going the whole time it's installing, but when I get to any configuration, I will turn it back on so that you'll see the steps exactly that I go through. And you can always just fast forward through these videos after I post them. This is where I'm going to select what I want to install. I'm working on my enterprise machine, so I'm going to come to the enterprise full installation. The server core installation is the scaled down version of the operating system. You have no GUI, and everything would have to be done at the command line, and it does not have the robust features that we have in the full installation. So you'll be sure to click full installation. Obviously we're not upgrading because there's nothing installed on this machine already. If there was something here I could upgrade, but I'll be choosing the custom, and I'll just install it here. I can always shrink my drive if I wanted to and use the extra space for something else. And here, while it's copying files, I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so here we are after the computer has rebooted at least once, but there was no user intervention to get to this point from when I started the installation. So now it's telling me that the user's password must be changed before logging on for the first time. Okay, and I'm the administrator, and you can see that I'm needing to create a new password. I recommend always using this password because it's one I can always remember. And it meets complexity requirements. Changing password. Password has been changed. Okay, this lab only required you to complete the installation. So for this enterprise machine, we're just about finished, and I'm going to show you what screenshot I'd like to see in your lab report. I've done nothing with any networking, nothing that you haven't seen recorded here. I have done nothing other than what you have just seen. And that's all you're required to do for this first lab. So if we come to start, right-click computer, and look at your properties, we'll see that I have this computer. The only identifying features I have to let me know it's me is my name on the machine right here. We'll get into renaming and naming objects in the next lab. For now, let's take a snippet of this. Put it in my lab document. And now I'm on to the standard installation. I'm finished with this. I'm just going to go ahead and close it down, which you don't generally do. Whenever you shut down a server, you should give it some sort of explanation, because you're not really supposed to be shutting down servers, obviously, because they're serving somebody somewhere. Alright, so let's go to our standard edition. Same thing. I'm going to use the same file. Go through the same installation. I'll get it started and then I'll pause the video again. Okay, this time we're looking for the standard edition. And let's see, we have standard, full installation, not the core, full installation is what we want. Again, it's custom because there's nothing installed here. And it's copying files. So I'll pause here and come back after it's in. Okay, so here we are again, same sort of message. Okay, password must be changed. So I'm going to use that same password that I showed you for the other machine. Whoops. And this is very similar. We'll see that this is our standard installation here. We already have our enterprise completed. We're almost finished with Lab 1. Again, right click, computer, go to properties, and we'll see that we now have a standard installation. Get a snippet of that, and you'll see my snippet shows my name here, so I know that this is from me. Come back over and insert that snippet, and I'm done with Lab 1.